I'd like to call the Proctor City Council meeting for Monday, May 15th, 2023 to order. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perform a roll call at this time. Councilor Benson.
Present.
Councilor Reuter.
Present.
Councilor Johnson.
Present.
Councilor DeWall.
Present.
Mayor Ward's also present. Please let the minutes reflect all others in attendance. City Administrator Rich and Attorney Bray via telephone. Looking for a motion to approve the City Council meeting minutes from Monday, May 1st, 2023.
So moved.
Councilor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Johnson. Any further discussion? I just had one under the last motion that was made. It says council was in agreement to appoint Councilor Benson to the Liquor Control Committee to advise as legislation. He wasn't being appointed to liquor control, was he? He was just kind of being an advisor for that legislation.
Yes,
correct.
it was not to the committee.
Okay.
It was to.
I just
kind
wanted
of
to clarify
oversee and
that.
report back.
Right, perfect. Any other discussion?
We are approving the minutes.
Yes, sir.
If you look on the second page, fourth line from the top, we have DeWall and Benson approving a resolution 1523. I think we should have the descriptive line just for transparency, and if we have to refer to it at a later date, it gives us what we're discussing.
It's just kind of like what our agenda reads.
Yeah, just.
1723 declaring Bike Night Festival.
Yeah, instead of just saying approved resolution
Right.
1723, you'd have just that line.
Is that something we can change? Thank you.
So I would move that we add that to the minutes, and with that,
Sounds good. Thank you.
thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Before we make that motion, I'd like to add 7A, closed meeting for attorney-client privilege. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Ms. Mayor, I do have
Councilor
one
Benson.
addition, if we could just put in legislative update under 6G, I guess, please.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll move.
Councilor Benson made the motion. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Brings us to comments and suggestions from the citizens present. The public comment suggestion period of the meeting is when the city council offers a time for everyone in attendance or watching from home to address the city council. Once we move on from the public comment suggestion period of the meeting, members of the public will no longer be allowed to address the council unless the mayor acknowledges you. As a general rule, the council will listen to all comments but will not comment on or respond to any comments made by speakers. The council will not engage in dialogue. However, any council member can ask questions. If you'd like to address the city council during public comment and suggestion period of the meeting, please come forward to the podium or dial 218-628-6289. Before you begin, please state your name and address for the meeting minutes. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the city council will be prohibited from using obscene, profane, or threatening language or boisterous conduct that disrupts the meeting or the security of the public. Is there anyone at this time that is interested in participating in the public comment and suggestion period of the meeting? Please come forward to the podium or dial 218-628-6289. We'll give that a minute or two.
Jim Butcher, 145 Kirker Street. I came to this meeting because I thought that the conditional use permit might be up for discussion for Josh Runke, who lives at 140 Kirker Street. And I guess it's to do with the shipping container he has for storage on his property. I got a notice in the mail that it was going to be addressed at the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting, which was, a couple of weeks ago. And I knew nothing about it until I went to the meeting, and although my living room looks right at his property, I didn't even realize that the shipping container was there. So I just wanted to come and give him support in case there are any objections, because I'm probably the person most likely to be affected by it, and I didn't even know it was there. So hopefully his request will be approved.
Sounds good, thank you. And I think we will be discussing it tonight. Depends if we'll take action or not. It'll be up to
Okay.
council, so. But I appreciate the comment.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak at this time? We can grab that mic if she wants the mic. It comes out of that holder. Oh, she don't want to speak? You're more than welcome to speak.
Well, my name's Kaylee. I live in Cloquet. Just because I have 2 minor children with me, I don't really want to state my address, but the reason why we're here is because at the last city council meeting, I heard that you guys really care a lot about kids and, you know, family fun, all that. However, there was an incident last July that involved my 2 kids here and at USA Towing, and I just think it's kind of absurd that my minor children were charged and then falsified their ages. And also during, I recently obtained some data requests, and I noticed that this year's permits for towing have, it's a typo on there, but it was expired on January 31st. I did of this year. I did email the City Hall email address about this, but technically, because it is a typo and it was only good through 1/1/23 through 1/31/23, it has been expired for 104 days as of today. I just want to make you guys aware of that so it can be fixed, because it's against the own city ordinances right now.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else willing to speak during the comment suggestion period? Hearing none, we'll move on. That will bring us to 3A, committee reports, draft tour, that's part of the consent agenda. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Councilor Johnson made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to 4A, clerk advises council, Second Street project update. Administrator Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. We are moving along with our Second Street project. We have a pre-construction meeting on, I believe, the 30th of May with our contractor and our subcontractors. So we'll have more information about the project timeline, what the public can expect from, or we'll be able to put together what the public can expect from the project. And at that time, I plan on doing some social media posts and some updates to the neighborhood about what's happening with the project, so they're kept up to date. We do have a resident on the street that is coming to the pre-construction meeting. We thought it might be helpful to have some representation from the owners along the street, but it's moving along nicely.
Thank you. Any questions regarding Second Street project? Hearing none, we'll move on to 4B, sand and salt project update. Administrator Rich.
Thank you. One item that we have been working on for a year now is having a local utility move their fiber optic line that goes through the property. And we are happy to announce that that has been done, very nearing being completed, so that when we are ready to proceed with the work, the fiber line's been moved and we can move forward with the project.
Thank you. Any questions regarding that?
Oh, good to hear.
What's that?
Good to hear.
Yeah. Thank you. That'll bring us to 4C, jet repair update. Administrator Rich.
So if you've noted, the jet, and I think I've reported at council meetings, the belly of the jet has a loose panel. I did contact the National Museum and it received instructions on how we're to go about repairing it. essentially it is our repair to make. So I asked the help of the 148th to come and the local contact that Counselor Benson gave me. I also reported it to our insurance, not knowing on how much the repair cost was going to be, that the jet is fully insured under our insurance. So we met a couple weeks ago. Unfortunately, we rented a lift so that the insurance agent and members of the 148th could get up inside the plane to see what the damages were done. And unfortunately, it was so windy that day that we determined that it was unsafe to be near it or even go up to inspect it. So at this point, what we're waiting for is a rescheduled date when we can get some more expertise and help and a calm day that the members of the 148th can be there to help us determine what's needed.
Thank you. Any questions regarding that? Did you guys block that off?
We did. We roped it off at the advice of the insurance agent.
Thank you. That'll bring us to 4D, 2023 flooding report. Administrator Rich.
I am sure that you have heard that St. Louis County declared a disaster emergency for the flooding. We met amongst our group internally, and we didn't have damages. We did have some overtime, but to be quite frank, the amount of work that it goes into claiming a small amount, and when I say small amount, I'm saying under probably $500. It's pretty labor intensive to submit a FEMA claim for a small amount.
Thank you.
Unless, of course, you want us to proceed with it.
No, I don't think so. If the county's awarded any dollars, I'm sure they may be kicked back to our community, but I don't think it's necessary for us to proceed with anything unless council feels different. So, any questions regarding that? Hearing none, we'll move on to 4E, Local Board of Review, 5/16/23 at 10 a.m. Administrator Rich.
Just a reminder, meeting's tomorrow at 10 a.m. and that we do need a quorum to make decisions.
Councilor Benson.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how long I could stay. I'll be here to make sure we have a quorum, but Tuesday seems to be a very busy day for us.
Yeah, and I'm kind of in the same boat. I'll be here. I do have a 1 o'clock, so depending on the length of tomorrow's meeting, hopefully we can adjourn or recess before 12:30. But what do you need, 3?
We need 3.
Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll move on to 4F, Orange Places Project Update. Administrator Rich.
So Essentia Orange Places Project Initiative, Russell Haberman has been meeting with our Parks and Rec Committee with a few additions of people who aren't on the committee, but how are stakeholders in this project or would be interested in it. We had our second meeting last week, and I believe I sent city councilors that a survey is going out to the community for public engagement to see what the community would like in the park. Whether we change things, we add things, keep them the same, this is the part where the community gets to tell us what they would like the park to look like. So just so you know, those surveys are out there, they're available online, and we're getting actually a very nice response so far.
Good. Glad to hear. Any questions regarding that? Hearing none, we'll move on to 5B, tourism funding. In your packet, you did see tourism meeting minutes, and I don't have the date from that meeting in front of me, but it was their last meeting, I believe, from April 24th, 2023. The Tourism Committee recommends that council approve the marketing grant of $1,500 to the Lions Club Hoghead Festival, and they also recommend approval of the marketing grant for $2,250 to Halvard Line Speedway. I know there's discussion at the last meeting regarding these dollar amounts. I did have a meeting with Sally before this meeting, and she kind of went over some of the funding that tourism has done over the past couple of years or few years. Looks like since 2012 this report's from. And the reason of the funding, she did a very nice type up in her meeting minutes regarding the reason as to why. So just looking for council approval or direction on how they'd like to do the Lions Club Hoghead Festival funding and the Halvard Line Speedway funding. I know with the Lions Club Hoghead Festival, it's $1,500. That's the max grant that the tourism offers. However, with the Halverline Speedway, they were getting additional funding for marketing campaigns. When I talked to Sally before the meeting, she gave me kind of a nice write-up here of the hoghead marketing that the city does. And it looks like Forum Communications was $1,000, Fox 21 digital ads was $9.99, Journal ads was $250, and Explore Minnesota was $350. So tourism is supplying more funding for the Hoghead Festival. It's just not being shown in this $1,500 grant. So. And with Sally's here, with the Halverline Speedway, that extra funding was for their marketing campaign?
Yeah, excuse me. It was for one publication that ran 10 weeks, and there's no way really to split up the bill. Last year, Speedway did not ask for any money, and we did the one ad for the 10 weeks in that same publication. It's an incredible publication for them. So we would have done it either way, whether they asked for the money or not. So that's the cost for the 10 weeks.
Yeah, for the All Dirt
All the
magazine
Dirt.
or, yeah. So I guess with that being said, what would council like to do as far as these two funding grants? I'll entertain a motion to approve both the Lions Club Hoghead Festival and the Halverline Speedway marketing grants.
I'll make that motion.
You want to make that motion? Is there a second? Councilor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion?
So in reality, with the additional add-ons on top of the 1,500, this is the 1,500 that grant they applied for.
And then everything below that's what the city also contributes for advertising.
Those almost $4,000.
Councilor Johnson?
Sally, can you tell us how many people are on this committee?
On paper, there's 9. Attending regularly is 4. So,
And are you a voting member?
mhm.
You know, and I'm looking at the minutes, and there was only 3 people there. How can that be a quorum? How can that be voting?
We didn't vote, we recommended. We don't vote when we don't have a quorum, so.
Yeah, it's like any other committee. They just make recommendations to council and then council goes with the recommendation or has questions regarding it.
Is it a common occurrence to have that many absences at a meeting, or is it just
No, it's a common occurrence. We have industry people and they're running their businesses, hotels and things like that. So the committee has had discussions about do we need, and I believe when Mr. Roeder was, Councilor Roeder was city administrator, we talked about this, not even needing 9 members on there necessarily. It's difficult to get a quorum. Spirit Mountain is on there, they've never attended. Blackwoods has never attended. But I talk to them. You know, I talk to them regularly. They don't vote, they don't come, but I get their input, I guess, regularly. So they're valuable, they just aren't voting members of a committee very much. They aren't there, so.
Mr. Mayor, if I might.
Councilor Benson?
And I sit on that committee, and I got busy. It was just an extraordinarily busy week, so I missed it. Another member had passed away who usually attended,
Yeah, right, yeah.
so there was 2 right there. One who's recovering from knee surgery, she phoned in, I believe.
Yeah, she was there, but. Yeah, you're right, we lost a member, so we have 8 that are, so.
But discussions have always been animated and thorough. well discussed.
We also only have funding decisions once a year, so they usually come in April, because people have to get there. We may get the Naughty Wood Carvers and Scandinavian Fest come later, but really, they all get in before the summer, so we're pretty much done with funding requests.
And if I might just have one more.
Yeah, Councilor Benson.
And correct me if I'm wrong, it's one of the reasons we went from having monthly meetings to quarterly, is because, you know, it's an industry that has a lot of demands on the people who we hope would attend.
Then I'd just like to point out too that, you know, this funding for Lions Hoghead Festival and what I read off as far as advertising, there's a lot of employee hours that goes in behind the scenes also that help contribute to the Hoghead Festival, as far as our street department or our fire department or our police or office staff that are answering phone calls, taking questions. So there is a lot of time spent as far as city staff is concerned too. It's not dollar amounts, but it is in the big picture, it is costly. So that is one way we also contribute to the event.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to 5C. Tourism Committee recommends council approve the $3,000 to the Dirt Floor Arena for marketing and promotion of the new Bulls and Barrels Rodeo and new fall and spring events. This is another one that was tabled at the last meeting for more conversation. Sally again had minutes regarding the decision of the recommendation as to why the Dirt Floor Arena should receive a $3,000. Again, it was the $1,500 max grant, along with another $1,500 to promote some new events that the Dirt Floor Arena is trying to kick off this season. So we'll entertain a motion to approve the $3,000 funding for the Dirt Floor Arena and the Bulls and Barrels Rodeo. I'll make that motion if there's a second.
I'll second that.
Second by Councilor Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Thanks for explaining all that, Sally. That'll bring us to 6A, Resolution 17-23, declaring Bike Night Festival. In your packet is a map regarding the Bike Night Festival held Thursday nights from May 25th to September 7th, 2023, from 5:45 p.m. to 9 p.m. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 17-23?
So move.
Councilor Johnson made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. 6B, Resolution 18-23, declaring June Car Show Festival. Again, in your packet is a map showing the event of the June Car Show, Powerhouse June Car Show 2023, Wednesday, June 7th, from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 18-23?
So moved.
Councilor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes.
Oh,
Councilor
I do
Benson?
have one question about the June Car Show. We have a new business going in on that northwest corner of 5th Street and 2nd Avenue, 3rd Avenue. Just wondering how, if their parking is in the back, how are people supposed to get there?
It's a very good question.
And actually, Councilor Benson, I'm glad, because I noticed that it went up to that block too. Out of the residents, there's 1, 2, 3 homes. And that alley doesn't go all the way through from 2nd Avenue. I thought they usually stop at Short, but
Like where even where the entrance is there, it would. Well, one of the homes is not occupied, is it?
I don't know if they're occupied or not. I just know there's 3 houses in there plus that business.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going up beyond the houses anyway, maybe just below the business entrance. I'm talking the old gravers.
Well, it's not, for the June car show, it's not blocked off there. On Third Avenue, it's not blocked off. I thought you were talking Fifth Street where it's blocked off at Highway 2.
Hoghead Festival Car Show.
You're looking at the Hoghead.
Yeah, it's a June
Wrong.
car show.
All right.
I mean, and I get it, it's the same discussion or concern for bike night. Again, new business, bike night every Thursday has a tendency to perhaps cut into. And then, you know, with the city parking lot, you still have that gauntlet of bikes and cars.
And then I was not at the public safety meeting, but do you know if that was discussed at all?
Neither was I. I'm trying to remember when was it the end of June, before July, or by mid-June that they were gonna try to open?
I thought it was the beginning of June.
I thought it was early June as well.
And when we approved these, I don't think we knew when they were gonna open or what was gonna happen, but I agree, I see that as a problem. We got a lot of things that we've approved that pretty much isolates their building for, you know, those days. And
Well, it
I
definitely,
think we ought to at least sit down and talk to them about it.
yeah, it definitely kicks out our city parking lot there.
Like I say, in the car show blocks both Fifth Street and Third Avenue.
Yeah. Well, this is a dilemma now, because we approved the bike night one, but
We're asking for a declaration of festivals, not the logistics of the
Yeah.
street closures. So if you could approve the designation and then perhaps recommend the public safety chair reach out to these residents and the business to see, get their input on the street layout, it could still move forward with the festival designation.
okay.
And I believe Chief Gatis chairs that committee, so he could just stop and chat with those entities, show them the plan, and get their input.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, and while it was 15, 20 years ago, the best practices for the car show and the parade was always to drop off something at everybody's house saying that this is the president of the Lions, this is the police chief, this is the city administrator. If you have any concerns, these are phone numbers you could address or call.
Should we go back to bike night then and amend our motion?
No, I don't think, I agree with,
We're declaring
No,
it a
it's-
festival.
We're
Or
just
declaring a
declaring-
festival,
these are
but you wanted
declaring
us to also
festivals.
add that the chair of public safety reach out, or does that not have to be part of the motion?
I don't know that needs to be part of the motion, I can
Okay.
just relay that.
Okay,
Well, we could make that a whole other motion, you know, contingent upon either Administrator Rich or Chief Gatis reaching out to them. I mean, I could see it go one of two ways. I could see it be positive and actually help them with some foot traffic, or it could, but I think it's at least important that we open up to them and get their take.
right. I would agree. Okay. So any other discussion regarding Resolution 18-23 declaring June car show? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. In your packet, or 6C, Resolution 19-23 declaring Hoghead Festival. In your packet is another declaration declaring the Hoghead Festival with a map on this one as well. This would be Wednesday, August 16th from noon to 9 p.m. Looking for a motion to approve. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
second.
Who said that? I'm sorry. Seconded by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to 6D, Resolution 20-23, bonding request. In your packet is a bonding request authorizing to execute and file an application on behalf of the City of Proctor with the Minnesota Management and Budget Office for the projects described above. Looking for a motion to approve Resolution 20-23.
So move.
Counselor Benson made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Johnson. Any further discussion?
Mr.
Counselor Benson?
Is there a cost to this yet?
Yeah, hang on.
This was the improvement of existing water infrastructure to and extending City of Proctor water and wastewater.
And I'm excited to see this resolution and certainly encourage the passage.
I'm just pulling it up.
Or you could get back to me later.
You want to get back?
It's,
The
Almost.
cost of the project,
For me?
talking about the cost of the project
Yes.
to do it. I think it was a little over $1 million way back then, so.
the total project cost is 4.1 million.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to 6E, Resolution 21-23, Conditional Use Permit, 140 Kirkus Street. Administrator Rich.
So the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the conditional use permit for 140 Kirkus Street. There was one neighbor in attendance, and that was Mr. Butcher, who was here this evening, who had no objection. The commission members, this is for a storage Conex container box that is in a front yard that did not get a permit. The commission members asked if a garage could be built for storage, or if the storage container could be put in the backyard. And the owner stated that he would, it would take quite a bit of, a large garage would take quite a bit of space in his front yard. To store his equipment in the backyard is too low and doesn't have usable space for a garage. So at the, hang on, I'm just getting my, we do not have the conditional use prepared by the city attorney. He'll be presenting that for us to sign. Just getting to the motion. It was a motion by Commissioner Boyson, second by Commissioner Harnell, to approve the conditional use permit for a storage container at 140 Kirkus Street under the condition the short end faces the street and its placement meets side yard setbacks. It was voted in with 4 votes saying yes and 1 vote saying no.
Thank you. So you heard the recommendation from P&Z. Council can decide to take action on this tonight unless they would rather wait to see the conditional use permit at the next meeting.
I'd make a motion that we approve the permit. I can only assume that Attorney Bray will write up the appropriate document based on what the conditions are, so I don't think I need to sit and wait for him to do that.
I would agree. I'll second that motion. Any further discussion?
And them stipulations will be in there, correct?
Yeah.
Those are the stipulations.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to 6F, seasonal employee wage increases. In your packet, you see the wage increases, current wages, and then you got 5/1/2023. Thanks for coming. And 5/1 of 2024. This is for the park, recreation, and street seasonal non-affiliated workers. Is there a motion to approve these wage increases?
So move.
Counselor Johnson made the motion. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Oppose? Motion passes. 6G, legislative update. Counselor Benson.
Thank you very much. There was a number of items that have occurred during the past 2 weeks. One is the House Chair being pretty adamant about not wanting to pass any sort of sales tax request for virtually anybody. And I think this, on the Senate side, they would like to see that self-determination by the people who are most affected. And I'm hopeful that the House Chair will allow some taxes to go through, and I'm hopeful that one of them will be Proctor's. But I'm hopeful, but not really confident that it's going to happen. We may have to go back next year with some rule changes in place. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, but it goes back to getting our bonding requests in as soon as possible. You know, I look at bonding, I'm excited about the resolution that we passed this evening. I'd like to see one, you know, like our trail, bonding request for the trail, bonding request to finish off our recreation area once we move our street department garage. Had a real interesting conversation with a couple of city administrators late last week, and we were going through the political subdivisions that received, you know, under deed, capital budget proposals. Spirit Mountain, $11 million. There was an inclusive playground, something that we have, for $1.4 million. You know, community center, $630,000. Hermantown's hockey arena, $6.5 million. Another inclusive playground for $500,000. Just a central square in Glenwood, $3 million. Another inclusive playground, 2.5. A central park, 7.5 million. So they're out there, you know, even though it's not going to be a bonding year, I'm not sure how much money is going to be left. I think now is a good time to start putting together that list, so we could talk about it. And I would not be worried or apprehensive about putting in a bucket of bonding requests. Even the Kingsbury Trail through the Lake Superior Zoo. I mean, it could happen. So legislature is supposed to adjourn next Monday, so we will see what happens. We'll have another discussion at our next council meeting.
Bonding requests from local.
I'm sorry? Oh,
Bonding requests from local government units are due June 16th.
Okay.
so if we could keep bonding suggestions on the agenda up until then. So a bonding request is just a simple resolution similar to,
Yeah, my concern with that, Counselor Benson, and maybe you follow it closer than most of us here, if you're not ready to go with a project, or you don't have those cost estimates, or you don't have the feasibilities, or they're not updated, how does that affect testimony when you're working towards those applications? That's from my end point of view, but that's why I only brought this first one forward, because the feasibility study was done. We know what the cost estimate is. We know what our local match will be. So if we could come up with projects that were a little bit closer on than an idea, or what are your
Well,
thoughts on that?
I doubt if they're going to do a bonding tour, since it's not a bonding year. I mean, they might, which means we would have to be prepared by the fall. But most of the time, you know, we won't get a hearing until February at the earliest, maybe January, doubtful. So, I mean, it was even to a point when you looked at the sales tax, you're supposed to get the approval of the tax committees before you bring it to the people for a vote. And one year, Jim and I, along with the city council, just put it to a vote of the people. And it passed, and they asked us, why did you do that? Why did you break the rules? We just said, our citizens demanded it. And we were able to pass it, but I think was it this building? Yeah. So, they'll understand some things. And they're always changing the rules, so.
Thank you for that update. Any discussion regarding the update? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to go into closed session for attorney-client privilege per Minnesota State Statute 13D.03 and 13D.05 subdivision 3. Councilor Reuter made the motion to go into close. Is there a second?
Second.
Sent by Councilor DeWall. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. back. Bring us to members' concerns. Counselor Benson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to share with the council, I had an opportunity to go to the National League of Cities Risk Conference for state of Minnesota and the trustees, and I just wanted to go through a list of some of the sessions that I sat in on. Leading with Resilience, Strategies to Cultivate Champions, PTSD, Homeless and the Changing Legal Landscape, Getting Cyber Incident Ready, The Art of Influence, Employees' Speech to Public Comment and Protest, First Amendment Impacts on Cities, Effective Communications for Civic Leaders, and your police commissioner and myself attended a discussion on de-escalation training for law enforcement, and that was interesting because it was put on by the assistant director of the cops from the Department of Justice. And I couldn't be there without citizens of Proctor electing me, and certainly I wanted to bring back the importance of taking advantage of these conferences when they come, because networking, the information that's passed on by state and national leaders, and we have one coming next month in Duluth. So try to attend if you can.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Counselor DeWalt.
Nothing.
Nothing, thank you. Counselor Johnson.
Nothing.
Thank you. Counselor Reuter.
I'd just like to step in for Mr. Benson and remind everybody that 2 weeks from tonight, or today, we have a Memorial Day service out here at City Hall, and I'd like to encourage everybody to come.
Yep, thank you.
Starts at 10 a.m., correct?
9:30.
9:30.
9:30. Thank you, that was one of my items. Want to wish all the moms a happy Mother's Day yesterday. Hope they had a good day. Today is Peace Officers Memorial Day and Police Week, so take a moment to remember all the officers that gave the ultimate sacrifice during the line of duty, and thank your local law enforcement for all the hard work and sacrifices they make. And just a reminder again, tomorrow our local Board of Review is here at City Hall at 10 a.m., so hope to see some people show up. Attorney Bray.
Nothing for me.
Thank you. Administrator Rich, anything more? Thank you. Looking for a motion to approve the bills in the amount of $135,137.37.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Councilor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Benson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Councilor DeWall made the motion to adjourn. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes.